Okay, yes, the Scimitar did not kill the Enterprise. It came rather close to doing so. This massive warship crippled the Sovereign-class USS Enterprise-E, which was the pride of Starfleet by 2379. The Sovereign-class is one of the most advanced designs, and the Scimitar made light work of it during the Battle of the Bassen Rift. So why is the ship so powerful? In today's Star Trek Starships Explained series, we take a dive into the movie of Star Trek Nemesis to explore the Scimitar. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack. While you watch this video, tell us what you thought of Star Trek Nemesis. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. As always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay, engage. The Scimitar Warbird was a massive starship with a length of 890 meters and a width of 1,350 meters. For context, the Sovereign-class USS Enterprise-E was 685 meters long. This broad structure allowed for multiple weapon points to be installed, as well as additional systems such as an impenetrable zero-emission battle cloak. Perfect was how Enterprise Chief Engineer Geordi LaForge described the Scimitar cloak. The device emitted no tachyons, and therefore left no residual anti-protons. This was your standard two ways of tracking and locating a cloaking device, meaning when the Scimitar was cloaked, it was virtually impossible to find. Captain Picard was right in his description of this ship. Fitted with a forced quantum singularity warp drive, the Scimitar could sustain a warp factor of 9.7, exceeding that of a Federation Sovereign-class starship. The Scimitar could also deploy its weapons and shields while cloaked, and travel at warp speeds while cloaked as well. Less advanced cloaking technology would necessitate decloaking or reducing the effectiveness of the cloaking device. Designed for war, the Scimitar carried a giant armament. 52 disruptor banks were mounted, along with 27 photon torpedo launchers. This weapon loader was roughly 5 times the armament of any other single ship. It allowed the Warbird to be armed and prepared for seemingly any engagement, to easily carry out its designed mission. In a unique system, the Scimitar was installed with a Phaleron radiation weapon. This weapon allowed the Scimitar to strip a planet of life in a matter of seconds. The Scimitar's wings are designed to attract to channel the Phaleron radiation at the Scimitar's core. This would allow the radiation to be directed out from the vessel. While not being used as a weapon, the Phaleron reactor was channeled into the ship. Defense-wise, to complement its impenetrable battle cloak, the Scimitar carried primary and secondary shields. This allowed for redundant protection, essentially meaning the starship had a backup shield in case the first failed. This design allowed the Scimitar to hold up against 2 Romulan Valdor type warbirds, as well as the USS Enterprise-E. The shuttle bay of the Scimitar was rather large, holding multiple Scorpion-class attack fighters. Due to keeping so many, the bay was spread over 2 decks, allowing a Scimitar to have a large contingent of fighters to aid in battle if required. It's estimated that at least 40 Scorpion-class attack fighters, as well as other utility craft, were kept on board. These fighters allow for 2 pilots and are designed for use in swarm tactics. Each Scorpion class carries a small dorsal disruptor turret, which has effectiveness against moderate armor plating. The fighter craft can operate in a planet's atmosphere. These fighters are also fitted with defense shields. The interior design of a Scimitar was radically different from any other vessel, although it did share the typical basic layout found on most Romulan starships. The center of the bridge contained the commanding officer's chair. Behind this, to the left and right, were consoles of operators to stand at. In front of the CEO's chair were 2 more stations. The Scimitar was secretly designed by Reman insurrectionists and overseen by Shinzon, a clone of the legendary Starfleet captain Jean-Luc Picard. The ship's immense power was the keystone to Shinzon's plot to assassinate the Romulan Star Empire Senate and assume the role of Praetor, to rule over the species. Shinzon did succeed in this, aided by Reman forces and inside help from the Romulan generals Saran and Donatra, as well as Senator Talara. Starfleet would become aware of the Scimitar design in 2379, when the Enterprise-E was dispatched to Romulus to meet with Praetor Shinzon, following a successful coup. In an attempt to escape Romulus and warn the Federation and Starfleet of Shinzon's plot against the Federation, Captain Picard jumped to warp with the Enterprise-E, following his and Data's escape from the ship that was. The Scimitar pursued the Enterprise while cloaked, and waited for the right moment to strike. Picard and the Enterprise crew knew that Shinzon needed Jean-Luc's blood to survive, as his clone body was failing. As such, they knew he would need to deal with the Enterprise before going after the planet like Earth. The Enterprise intended to rendezvous with Starfleet battlegroup Omega near the Bassen Rift. Unfortunately, Enterprise's communications were disrupted, and Shinzon took this moment to launch his attack. The ship fired while cloaked and disabled the Enterprise-E's warp core with a single volley. This left the Federation flagship outgunned and unable to call for help. Picard and the crew would land some hits on the Scimitar as the ship remained cloaked while firing. This was done using the Sovereign-class's phaser banks simultaneously at a 0-degree elevation. Therefore, it allows for the scanning of shield impacts in an attempt to land a torpedo strike against the ship. Unfortunately, the Scimitar was far too fast to deal any real effective damage. The Enterprise did have reinforcements in the form of 2 Romulan Valdor-type warbirds. Shinzon's Romulan forces had started to turn against him. The battle still favoured the Scimitar, as the Romulan warbirds successfully disabled both Valdor warbirds with effective shots. As the Enterprise had depleted its supply of photon torpedoes and sustained critical damage, the battle looked in the favour of Shinzon. In one final effort, Picard ordered the Enterprise-E to ram the Scimitar to stop the ship. While causing damage and destroying the main shuttle bay, where the Scorpion fighters were stored, the Scimitar was still operational. Fearing a loss, Shinzon began activating a Phalon radiation weapon. While Jean-Luc boarded the ship to stop Shinzon, Lieutenant Commander Data followed him. With Shinzon dead at the hands of Picard, Data beamed the captain back to the Enterprise and sacrificed himself to destroy the Romulan warbird once and for all.
Goodbye. 10, 9, 8.
Star Trek's extended canon tells us that the Romulan Star Empire would adopt the Scimitar design into an official starship class. The Scimitar, commanded by Shinzon, being a prototype of his class, which was destroyed in 2379. MMO video game, Star Trek Online, has Scimitar-class vessels in use as dreadnoughts by both the Romulan Star Empire and some groups of Romulan rebels. Later in 2409, the Romulan Republic would develop a variant class of a Scimitar design. They would be known as the Falchion and the War subclasses. The Romulan Republic would also launch a new line of Scimitar-derived ships with a distinctive Romulan appearance. Empress Sela uses the Scimitar class as her personal flagship in Star Trek Online. This ship is named the Leaval. In the script for Star Trek Nemesis, writer John Logan described the Scimitar as a massive vessel that would take on the form of a spider when it was poised to attack. Star Trek designer John Eves was tasked with designing the Scimitar for the movie. The work of John Berkey inspired Eves' first concept design for the Scimitar. This design was described as looking like some sort of predatory fish. Of course, this design was rejected, mainly because it did not look like a spaceship. But I will be honest, I can somewhat see this design working. What do you think? Logan frequently gave the instruction of "unlike anything we've ever seen before" to the Nemesis art department. John Eves worked with another concept designer to concept the Scimitar. During the process of the Scimitar design, they also both came up with the designs of a Romulan Valdor type warbird. Something both designers had to work with was the need for the ship to spread its wings. From the very beginning, the story of Star Trek Nemesis involved the Scimitar unfolding its wings to deploy the Phalon radiation weapon. The script said that the wings unfolded like a spider. Original concepts played with fin rods extending from the ship to support the weapon. This ultimately did not make it into the design. In the Eager Moss X Hero Collector magazine, you can see some of the Scimitar's original design and concept work. The concept designs show how it grew from what was first described into the final version of what we see in the film. Doug Drexler of Star Trek fame also stepped in to help the team. Drexler aided the team in designing the ship's panels. Fun fact here, the onboard computer of the Scimitar is done by Star Trek Nemesis film director Stuart Baird. The name Scimitar comes from an ancient Middle Eastern curved sword. This type of sword was also referenced in the final draft of a script for the Star Trek original series episode Dagger of Mind. The comic book series, Star Trek Countdown, shows the Romulan species having constructed smaller ships based on the design of the Scimitar. So that's our breakdown of the Scimitar from Star Trek Nemesis. While the movie may have not been perfect, the ship made for a fantastic aggressor and an even better battle in the film. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.